Things to consider when purchasing a stove. An open fire is only 20% efficient, as most of the heat is lost straight up the chimney. In comparison, a cast iron stove from Stanley can be up to 80% efficient. In fuel terms, you will use less fuel in your stove and derive more heat from it, saving you money, fuel, and increasing the level of heat in your home. By burning less fuel, your CO2 levels into the environment are reduced. Here's how to get the most from your Stanley stove. It's important to select the correct size stove to meet your needs. Do I want to heat just a single room using a room heating stove, or multiple rooms using a central heating stove? If you only need to heat the room the stove is in, the following calculation should be used. This will determine the heat output or kilowatts required for the room, and subsequently the model of stove required. Two things to consider when selecting a central heating stove. Firstly, how many radiators do you need to heat? Stanley has stove models that will heat from 3 up to 12 standard radiators. A standard single radiator is 5 foot by 2 foot in size. Secondly, the size of the room in which the stove is to be installed. Heat output from the different central heating stoves can vary, and it's important not to oversize the stove for the room, as it can result in the user running the unit at lower settings and not generating the desired heat output to the radiators. For smaller rooms, this potential issue can be overcome with the selection of a central heating model with a lower room output. If required, room heat can be supplemented by a radiator, which is being heated by the water from the stove. Positioning of your stove is also an important factor when heating your room. A centrally located stove allows heat to radiate out evenly around the room. Placing the stove in a corner or recessed into an alcove or fireplace can result in a localized hotspot in the proximity of the stove, with other parts of the room remaining cold. Getting the most from your Stanley stove. Stanley stoves are available in the following fuels: multifuel, wood burning, and oil. It's important that you use dry fuels. Fuels with a high moisture content, such as wet wood or peat, will affect the performance of the stove and may damage it. Multifuel or solid fuel stoves can burn a wide range of fuels, such as anthracite, coal, smokeless fuel, peat briquettes, and dried wood. Do not use fuels with a petro-coke ingredient, as this may cause the grate to overheat, causing damage. Many coal manufacturers have developed coal specifically for stoves. Our fuel partner Bord na Móna have a premium coal specifically designed for stoves, which provides high heat, long burn times, is cleaner and easier to use, creates lower amounts of ash and complies with all smokeless legislation, and is ideal for use in smokeless zones. Unlike open fires, your Stanley stove will allow you to control the burn rate of your fuel using a combination of primary air and secondary air controls. The primary air control spin valve on room heating stoves controls the primary air to the stove. For maximum heat output and burn rate, rotate the spin valve until fully open in an anti-clockwise direction. For a minimum heat output and burn rate, rotate the spin valve clockwise until fully closed. For nominal heat output, the spin valve will need to be open about 2 turns, depending on the draft conditions of the chimney. For the Lismore, adjust the primary air lever to a horizontal position, that is at 90 degrees from the floor. The secondary air control's primary function is to control the air supply to the window wash, which keeps the viewing glass clean. However, when burning wood or peat in your stove, it's also used as the primary air. When closed, it can reduce the burn rate of the fuel using the secondary air control for optimum fuel efficiency. The secondary air control configuration varies for different models. The primary and secondary controls can be gradually moved between fully open and fully closed positions for the desired setting. Slow burning, or burning on low temperatures, will cause the window glass to blacken and should not be used for extended periods, as it will leave sooty deposits in the flueways. Moving the controls to the fully open positions will allow for the glass to be partially, if not fully, cleaned. Use of smokeless fuels, such as anthracite, will help to reduce the level of glass blackening or sooting up. All Stanley central heating stoves with a maximum water output of over 8.5 kilowatts are fitted with a thermostatic damper stat, which automatically opens or closes as the water temperature in the stove increases or decreases. This allows the stove to automatically control the fuel burn rate when the radiators reach the desired temperature. The damper stat has 5 settings, with 0 as the minimum setting and 4 the maximum setting. Depending on the type of fuel being burned, the secondary air control may need to be adjusted if the desired heat outputs or burn rates are to be achieved. How to clean and maintain your Stanley stove. The cleaning of your stove can be categorized into 5 key areas: external castings, glass, internal combustion components, chimney and flue pathways, rope and door seals. For more detailed user and maintenance instructions, refer to your relevant user manual. Always burn dry fuel. Do not burn fuels with high moisture content, such as damp peat or unseasoned timber, as these will affect performance and damage the unit. Multifuel or solid fuel stoves are now far easier and cleaner to use than ever before, and most have riddling grates and air wash systems to keep the glass clean. The vitreous enamel finish on your stove is tough and hard wearing, but should be treated with care. Cleaning should be carried out when the stove is cool. If your stove is finished in a high-gloss vitreous enamel, wipe over daily with a soapy damp cloth, followed by a polish with a clean dry duster. For stubborn deposits, a soap-impregnated pad can be used carefully on the vitreous enamel. Do not use abrasive pads or oven cleaners containing citric acid on enamelled surfaces. Cleaners approved by the Vitreous Enamel Association should only be used. For your matte black stove, use a dry cloth to remove any dust or dirt. Do not use any water on the matte black finish, as this will cause it to rust. Again, ensure you do this when the stove is cool. Make sure to riddle your stove and remove ash every day, as build-up of ash can reduce the air circulation around the grate, causing it to overheat and deform. Over time, fuel deposits, clinker and ash can lodge between the grate and the grate support, which can cause difficulties when moving the grate during de-ashing. We recommend the following cleaning process to be carried out on a monthly basis. In order to clean the grate, remove the ash pan beneath first and lift out the grate. Take care if the ash pan is hot from the previous day's fire. Use a brush to dust off clinker and any remaining ash into the grate. For instructions on how to remove the grate on your specific Stanley stove, please reference the user and maintenance instructions. Typically, the glass will clean itself when there is sufficient heat generated by burning good fuel. If a buildup of creosote occurs on the glass, it may be due to poor draft conditions, poor quality fuel, very low burning for a long time. Only clean the glass when the stove is thoroughly cooled. To clean the glass inner surface, use hot water and a soapy cloth. Alternatively, you can use a glass wiper, such as the Atmosphere Dry Wiper from Schott, which is available in selected Stanley stockists nationwide. For stubborn stains, use hot water and fine grade 0 steel wool. To prevent your glass from sooting up, burn at high rates for effective air wash function. Do not use poor grade or damp fuel. Avoid slow burning and open air wash up to clear soot if needed. Use anthracite for prolonged periods of use on lower settings to prevent soot buildup. Stove flue pathways should be cleaned monthly and the chimney twice a year, once before heating season and once after. All Stanley stoves are designed with removable access plates and baffles to allow for access to the flue pathways of the stove and the chimney system to which the stove is connected. For ease of chimney access, the flue pipes should contain a cleaning access door, and any bends in the chimney system are no greater than 45 degrees. During the lifetime of your stove, rope seals and cleaning access plates will need to be replaced. We recommend rope seals be changed every 2 years. Solid fuel service kits are available for most Stanley stoves through your local Stanley stockist. For more information, watch our video, Changing the Rope and Glass on my Stanley Stove. By following these recommended cleaning tips, you will continue to enjoy the heat and comfort from your Stanley Stove for years to come.
There's nothing better than sitting in front of your Stanley Stove, enjoying the warmth and appearance of an open fire. To build the perfect fire in your Stanley Stove using wood, briquettes or coal, start by using 2 firelighters, 2 briquettes and some kindling. Light the kindling and allow the fire to build, and use coal as required. Stanley stoves are multifuel stoves and can burn wood, peat and coal, so at any time a mixture can be used. Once lighting, make sure to close the door and fully open the spin valve or primary air control by rotating it anti-clockwise. On the cara, push the secondary air lever to open. This sets the stove to maximum air, allowing the fire to build. Adjust accordingly once the fire has started. For more details on using the controls, see the Using your controls on your stove video. For maximum efficiency in your Stanley Stove, it is important to burn the correct fuel. How you build your fire will determine how long your fire will burn, and more importantly, how efficiently you use your fuel. To ensure you get a really good fire going in your Stanley Stove, make sure that the fuel is dry. Your stove can only operate with high efficiency and low emissions if the wood is of the right moisture content. Here are some symptoms of poor performance related to wet firewood. Lower than normal heat output, smell of smoke throughout the house, reduced burning times, disproportionate fuel consumption, dirty glass in your stove, creosote build-up in the chimney, difficulty getting a fire going and keeping it burning well, smoky fires with reduced flame. A carbon monoxide detector should be installed with every installation, including existing ones. And remember, your Stanley Stove can heat your room, your water and your central heating. Log on to www.waterfordstanley.com for more handy tips on how to get the most out of your Stanley Stove.
To ensure your Stanley Stove operates at optimum efficiency, it's essential that the chimney system to which the product is connected is capable of providing the minimum draft requirement for that particular product. Before installing your Stanley Stove, due consideration should be given to the flue connection and flue routing from the stove to ensure it complies with building regulations and manufacturer's installation instructions. As with all installations, Waterford Stanley recommend that you use a qualified installer, either with a HETAS or METAC qualification. Any pre-existing issues with your chimney system to which the stove is to be connected, for example smoking, downdraft, excessive flue pull, etc., should be investigated by a chimney expert and necessary action taken prior to installation of your stove. When installing a stove in your home, you will need either a vent on the wall to draw air into the stove for combustion purposes, or an alternative is connecting your stove to outside air. A number of Stanley stoves work with outside air connection. The majority of our stoves are back and top flue outlet and can be installed in one of 2 ways. Connection to an existing chimney. Connection to a fabricated chimney, also known as twin wall external flue pipe. For both installations, same rules apply. Horizontal pipe runs maximum 6 inches. 45-degree bends are the preferred option and makes it easier to clean. Minimum chimney vertical height is 4.6 meters or 15 feet. Chimney outlet should clear apex of highest roof. A suitable cowl should be fitted at the chimney outlet. All flue joints must be sealed with fire cement only. Clay pot liner should not exceed 9 inches, otherwise the chimney should be flexi-lined. If connecting to Flexi Flue Liner, you will need minimum 6-inch pipe to connect. The integrity of the clay liner in the chimney should be inspected prior to installation. In the event of the chimney not being of sound construction, not being capable of withstanding temperatures in excess of 1000 degrees Celsius, or exhibiting any cracks or leaks, a clay pot adapter should not be used, and a suitable flexible flue liner should be fitted. Your installer will be able to check this for you. Waterford Stanley recommend the fitting of a suitable carbon monoxide alarm in the same room as the appliance. This video outlines the correct way to flue your Stanley stove. If it's not carried out this way by a qualified installer, the following can happen. 1. Can cause poor draft, which will cause poor combustion, preventing the fire from lighting properly in your stove. 2. Glass will become black with poor combustion. 3. Your stove will start to smoke. At Waterford Stanley, we recommend that your chimney should be cleaned twice a year. Or if the stove is not used for a prolonged period during the summer, it should be cleaned